You're now being forced to watch as I comment about my silly circus indie game idea that will never happen probably other than like a few drawings. Okay, Pioneer Circus. It's a circus in like the late 90s and there's silly circus robots that were made by um, a mechanic that was friends with an artist that was friends with an owner. They were a trio that worked. But the artist got mad, killed the owner, and then the artist killed the owner. But then the owner's other artist friend killed the artist and the mechanic and became owner. The old artist became vengeful. The owner is now the other artist. The real owner was actually nice, and who made the characters' designs was the older artist, with help of the mechanic that became Jules, aka the rat one. And all of these characters are made with like bodies of teens who died there. Not like OMG, circus, scary. No, but just like the pink one was suicidal. The yellow one was just died because out of drug overdose. Foam drowned in like a nearby river and washed up by like close to the circus. Rhythm was looking for Dime since they were close, as you can say, kind of a frenemies type thing. Rhythm ended up dying because of murder. Mime was a mute teen that became a mimic, very ironic, and she was killed because the owner planned to. And so all of them to hide the bodies because the owner didn't want the circus to get sued. They put the bodies in the robots, not expecting it to do anything, but somehow it made them more lively, even though the robots were not planned to have people, even less bodies in them. But somehow they did that. They tried to look more into it. Turns out like the bodies were like in certain places that make other gears work and stuff. It's not like soul or anything. It maybe is, I don't know, I'm not choosing. But like the weight that the body adds is good, but it wasn't distributed rightly. So they chopped it up and put it in the places, and suddenly, boom, the robots worked better than ever. And somehow they got a little bit of the personality of the person, probably because of other aspects. And Dime was already had marks because they needed to be inclusive, even though the owner really didn't want. So Lyron was the really bad made, like chunky person because inclusive. They made Dime trans because they needed to be inclusive about that, since that was going on for some reason around that time in the world. Foam is supposed to be the scary shark person, but he's actually more shy and rather not speak to you. Rhythm normally just doesn't like being around the other robots. He just tolerates Dime enough. Mime just eats. She was hungry. And Jules is just kind of spying on them, but either way, that's kind of the main story. The game would consist of you as a nighttime janitor after hours, and your job is to clean, obviously. Can't be that hard, but sometimes the robots do get a little bit quirky at night, and they decide to simply go after their charger once they have like 50%, even though they're not supposed to do that. And they kind of just wander around, and they can see you, and they can either help or be absolutely annoying, such as Lyron. She would help you clean and stuff, get a better score, and become more familiar with the place. On the first night, Dime would show up in the second and waste a lot of your time by making you watch his show, and if you didn't watch it, he would get angry and start chasing you around the place. But if you did spend your time watching, he would help, but you get like amateur work and wouldn't get paid enough. Foam would just be in the pools. He would be splashing water, and you'll have to deal with that, making you waste time. But till now, none of them have hurt you. Just made your time hell or being quite helpful. Rhythm would literally like jump scare you kinda, but he didn't mean to do it, and he helps you clean. Mimic would be the first problem because she would eat trash, and you would have to deal with her thinking you are trash and trying to eat you. And so you would need to hide and stuff. The worst place to hide would be like the room of the animatronics, because sometimes Mimes goes there to get a quick boost of energy, and when she does that, you can clean. And Jules would be the biggest problem because she would try to kick you out even though you work there. And there would be stats to like anxiety or something, where you have to like breathe and stuff every when you get scared or something, or when it's a very dark place, you don't have the flashlight thing and you hear noises. There will be places to hide, as obvious. There will be cleaning, and your cleaning supplies would normally stay by the door, but you can move them sometimes when you have full breath, because ain't no one gonna drag that when you're dying. There would also be health, because you do take fall damage. You can't just jump out of a podium and expect to live. And there is a timer, because you have time to clean. You can't just stay the entire night there. And the first nights would be normal, 6 normal nights. But then after, when it cycles again, more characters would show up, like 2, 3, 4, no matter. And like they would have a type of glitch in them that the owner planted because he wanted to do something, I don't know, lore. And you would have to deal with that. Lyran would normally like be in like darkness. You would know she was there by like little pink glows of her eyes, and she has 4. It would be kind, and her tails would be kind of noisy. Dime would be like swinging from above. You can hear them giggling and stuff. They would also be saying really bad dad jokes like knock knock while you're trying to survive. Foam would normally be swimming, and the pool area is where most of the trash is, and like dirty because water. And so you would need to stay a long time there, and he is coming to bite you because he's shark. Rhythm would just try to get you, and he would trap you in like those knife throwing things, or like those circle where people go motorbikes and stuff, and you would need to dodge him in the motorcycle or try to not get hit by knives. And if you surpass that, he will let you go. He would be one of the easiest ones if you have good like hand coordination. Mine would just try to like eat you or like hypnotize you, since she's a mimic and she probably can do magic too. And Jules would get her extra arm things you can see in the drawing there, since she normally keeps them hidden. She would try to beat the absolute hell out of you. You would get visual clues or like sound clues by like lip smacking, or like I don't know. Do eyes make sounds? I don't know, but you'll probably hear a lot of metal sounds coming from her specifically, because she has 2 very big hands on her back and 0 where they were supposed to be. One with the last like sound clues would probably be mimics, since the most you hear is like a little bit jingle, because she has a little bell you can't really see because of the hands. And like the circus itself would be dimmed. Some parts would even have no light, so you have to try to turn them on or something by going outside. The only place where you're safe, but the cleanest place for some reason, so it's just useful to turn on the generators that work temporarily. Some rooms would be lit up a lot, like foams, water plays. And everywhere would have this stripe pattern, or just very many patterns to kind of confuse you, such as rooms being entirely one color or the same color as the character, so you will be kind of blind to it or something. I'm not sure. And like there's a time limit I'm not sure how much time it would be, but once you get your job done, you clock out, leave. You either get a ride if you pay your roommate Selena. I'm gonna explain that in a bit. And the game itself would be like a 3D kind of scary environment, but when it's day, it's like 2D, more cutish stuff. Like in the mornings, you would like talk to your friend Selena, that's an NPC in your dorm room. You would go to college and stuff. You could like sell things to kids in college, kind of like a sell quest thing that don't really matter. You can also get a lot of information about the lore at college, depending on who you talk to, and secret characters and stuff from other classes. Like, you can talk to a kid from the morning classes that's there for some reason. I don't know, getting the noon lunch or something, since they probably have cake. And you could talk to them to get information about the circus and uncover some hidden lore. Ooh, interesting. But either way, I'm traveling too far since this is just explaining. Okay, so day, night, cool pixel stuff, pretty decent. You could like customize your character to look more like you. You could like spend your monies you get with normal day-to-day stuff, since you would need to eat to get like more energy throughout the night, sleep and stuff. You could also, I was thinking of also adding like nightmares, so when you get home from work, you could have a nightmare that would kind of replace some of the scenes in the that happen. Like, oh, you're getting chased, you will dream about getting chased, but outside the circus, like in a long hacking hallway or tight cramped spaces, since it would mess with some phobias such as cramped environments or darkness and other things like spiders, balloons, ducks even, or something. And like, I imagine it would be kind of cool, but it's weird to explain, especially while voicing. But each character has their own personality and story. You would have to find out either through the game, that would probably be like just a single game, or maybe a second release as a special about each perspective of the characters or something. Like you would play as the other characters or something. Kind of like that one Roblox game when you become paranoid and kill yourself. But like, oh, new game, it's Lyran perspective. You would be playing as Lyran. Lyran's life, and you would have to like deal with what she dealt to. And in the end of the game, you see her dying and being stuck and being put into the robot and all that. There would be a lot of bright colors because brightness, it's a circus after all. If it was all gloomy and stuff, it wouldn't make any sense. And the circus would be decently big. You have to find trash that is scattered around, or like popcorn or something. I've never been to a circus. And you would have to clean, and based on how well you did clean, you would get a score that will be the amount of money you get. And money will be important in the game for more than customizing, because food, like I said earlier, drinking, clothing, that could also help. And like for your flashlights and stuff and other things. I'm sorry, I don't have a script. And I think it would be pretty interesting, but after seeing so much go down in the mascot horror, I think this, if it was an actual game, it wouldn't be the best thing ever, like another FNAF clone as usual. But because after all, it was inspired by FNAF, because robots are cool. But honestly, I think it's a decent idea if there was a better way for me to explain everything without sounding like I'm playing bad without air. Because that's exactly what I am doing. And like, Pioneer is already something I like drawing a lot, and I do write a story about it that's about you, YN, believe me or not. And your roommate Selena, that's gay, for a girl called Yuri, but you work at the Pioneer with zero idea the origins, because screw that. and you work for minimum wage cleaning. And at this point, you already know each and every single animatronic, and the next chapter will probably just be mostly Yuri and Selena centered if you read the 6th one. I'll leave a link to the story in the comments and also in the description if you want to see. It's called Pioneer Nights. And yeah, Pioneer is something I really like since they have my sillies. And Pioneer was actually based off of a FNAF character I made that looked kinda crappy. Then I tried to remake a better character and I ended up with Dime since he was one of the first, but he isn't the main one. The main one is mostly Jill since she's the ringleader, she's the face of the brand. And the owner is not particularly nice. And do not ask why the owner and the mechanic that was killed by the owner would have a deal. That's lore. And I don't want to tell it because I already told it in other ways. But I plan on saying it or leaving hints to what happened in the Pioneer Night story. So if you're actually watching this far and you're interested in Pioneer, you can just check that out. And also, they have voice claims. I'm not sure if I posted on YouTube, but I might after this. Or I might just put it at the end, since I'm trying to make a decently long video that no one will actually watch to the end. So if you're actually watching this to this point, thank you. I'm surprised you're even here, because I probably won't rewatch this. Oh, hell no. And probably because I'm talking real quiet, I should probably get this microphone closer to... No, too close. Okay, yeah, Pioneer would be just a circus with many sillies that would try to kill you or try to help you, and you have anxiety, crippling anxiety, and by the end of the game you will be going insane. Maybe in the end of the game you also would be put in the new robot that I already have planned that is like a bird. Like the people who in circus sometimes hold into strings that are attached to the top and ribbons and stuff and fly like man birds or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. I don't have much to say other than I like my sillies. And each character is Iron is the acrobat, Dime is the jester, Foam is the water performer, Rhythm is the brave, or he does motorcycles and more dangerous stuff. Mimic is the mime, and Jill is the ringleader, in quotes, because she literally just is a rat with a pretty face and the mascot. And Lyran is more motherly, so maybe in the game itself she would give you hints or try to help you when she's not trying to kill you or clean for you and steal your job. Okay, I'm out of air. Give me a second. The second has been given, and that's already kind of the end of the thing. And so check this description for the link to Pioneer Nights. And that's it. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk about my non-existent game. Yippee.